Welcome to my designer class. My name is Mercy and I sell Stampin' Up! Products. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be showing you the paper pumpkin for April 2019 called Sentimental Rose and what I did with it. So here is a full-size card I made into it, and I did add a lot of supplies, and I changed one color from the suggested, which is this pear pizzazz. So you can see when you open it up, it has this really beautiful neutral message. This would be good for thinking of you or even a thank you card. So the other one I wanted to show you is this tag I made. And with this tag, I used Highland Heather to stamp, and I used the note card for the front. So I cut this in half, and then I cut down 2 strips here. I made 2, and it came out to 2.5 by 3.5. So I also used the detailed trio punch to cut the corner around and add the little hole at the top. So to get started, we're going to go with the card, and then I will show you the tag, which is a quick, fun, easy project. Okay, so I used the polka dot background, and for the sentiment I used Butterfly Gala from Butterfly Gala. So we have our Stamparatus here. And what I did is I used Flirty Flamingo, and this polka dot is also part of the distinctive, so I thought it would be fun to include it in this project. And I have this Stamparatus set up so we will stamp this 2 times. So I'll show that in a bit. So I'm just kind of randomly adding a little bit of yellow and kind of wiping on the edges because it tends to be a little dark. So just stamp here, press firmly, and you have a little bit of the yellow kind of showing through. So we're going to do that again, and we're going to move down our door, this right here. And I'm just wiping real quick. So, I just got some ink on my hand. I touched the Flirty Flamingo. So I'm just going to clean that up real quick because we do not want that all over the place. So you move it down 2 hinges, and I hope this shows in the screen. And then once again, you press right firmly down. Now there is a teeny bit of an overlap, but I'm really not concerned about that because with my card, I cover that part up. But this little stamp is kind of on the small side to make a big feature. So I have found that doing this technique, you can also cover that area up with ribbon. I've done that. Just a lot of possibilities. So I'm very excited about this new paper pumpkin. It's really beautiful. I think it looks very vintagey. That's my take on it anyhow. So I'm just closing up my stamp pad so I don't have another little mess. That happens. And then we'll start our stamping. So we won't need this right away. I'll bring in my cardstock, and we're going to stamp with the Saffron. So this rose is absolutely stunning. If you find that you do not get a good impression and it beads up, you can just push the ink into your pad like this, and it won't harm it at all. Just use like a spoon. I think it's a little easier to use a spoon than like a used gift card. Plus I think it's a little easier on the stamp pad itself. Okay, so there we have it. I think that's a nice impression, although I think I see a little tiny dot here. I don't know, something might have been on the stamp. Okay, so the leaves are next. We're going to bring in pear pizzazz, and I'm going to do the same technique, pushing down here just to make sure that we're not going to get a bad impression. And here's my stamp. I was like, where's my stamp? We will need 3 leaves. So I'll go ahead and stamp those. That's really pretty. You can get quite a bit on This paper, I probably could get like 4 a month, but that's all we need, so that's all we'll do. Does that make sense? All right, so I have this little technique I wanted to show, which is using one of your pencils. These are colored pencils. This was a collection that was introduced last fall. It's the Assortment 2, and it will be offered again in the annual 2019 to 2020 catalog. So I don't feel bad using this again. And what I did is just lightly colored in on the white area here. And then once you color this in, you can smooth it out with your Wink of Stella pen. Wink of Stella pen can definitely act like a blender. And then for the center, I just drew little dots in, just to kind of add a little bit more interest and definition. So just an idea that you don't have to, the distinctive is good enough the way it is, but if you want to just do something a little different and add a second color, you could do it this way. You could also use your sponge dauber and add some color just like I did with the polka dots background. So I won't do all of this because I do have one already fussy cut out. So that's kind of how it looks. And then here is my fussy cut out one. And this one, you can see I kind of went with the grain, but that's not necessary if you're going to use your Wink of Stella pen, which I plan to. So with the Wink of Stella, I just want to hit the areas that are quote unquote the white areas. I'm not going to do the entire rose, but you can see it's starting to really smooth it out and add that little sparkle that Wink of Stella is so famous for, and I love. So just it doesn't take long to use this Wink of Stella pen. Obviously it's very quick. It's one of the beauties of it, and it adds just enough shine without being overpowering. It's definitely not like the kids' glitter glue. That stuff is bad news, let me tell you. Big time mess. Okay. Plus, this does not seem to warp or in any way harm the paper because it's very lightweight. Okay, so it's just beautiful. And we're kind of sticking with our theme of our background. So I will set that aside for the time being, and we will start assembling. So to get started, I'm going to go ahead and adhere these two together, and I did take out the center because I can use this cardstock 2 times, and then you don't have to have the entire thing. So I figured, why not? And this is gray granite, which is one of the colors that they list for this particular paper pumpkin. It's kind of like a beige gray. It's very interesting. It's very trendy right now to paint your interior of your house gray, so perhaps Stampin' Up! Was jumping on that little bandwagon. And then here is a gray granite strip, and with this, I don't know if you can tell, but it's looks kind of like linen, and that is with the Subtles embossing folder, and I ran it through 2 times. So if you wanted to duplicate that, that is what I did. So now I'm just going to quickly go ahead and add this to my base. Since we aren't using ribbon in this case, I will, now I do avoid gluing right there, just to avoid potentially any indenting, which I don't think would happen, but better to be safe than sorry, right? Okay, oh, that came out pretty well. Usually I have to wiggle it a little bit to get a little better spot. And for this part, I did have this slightly lower for this strip. Well, actually, maybe I should quickly add it to here in case these aren't perfectly lined up. Now, this is part of an envelope, the inside of an envelope that I took apart and have it for its designer paper. And that's a fun little way of kind of using up your envelopes if you've decided, like I did, to mainly use and make it into big cards instead of the included little note size cards. I don't need a ton of little note size cards, so I like changing it and adding it to my my own cardstock in the colors that they suggest, generally speaking. Although sometimes I even change that too. I've been known to do that. Okay, I just want to make sure this is straight. So I need to look on it kind of straight on instead of from the side. So we'll keep building here. This next part is of course, our beautiful rose, and I'm going to add some dimensionals real quick. Now, when you're adding dimensionals but putting leaves under it, I like to add the flower first and then tuck the leaves under. So you want to make sure, really want to make sure you allow for that. So don't put your dimensionals right at the edge. Kind of put them more or less towards the center. I'm just going to move that out of the way. Back in the right spot, because Lord knows we misplace things at the drop of the hat, right? When we're crafting, you can't find it. Okay, so now it's time for the sentiment, and it appears I've got to go search for that. I do apologize. Oh, here it is. So they include all these sentiments, thinking of all these little tags that you can stamp. And I like this a little note. This was not included in the set. This is from Butterfly Gala, because again, I thought it was kind of neutral and it would make a good like thank you note. And right now I need thank you notes. I just had my birthday and some people really blessed me with a nice little get together and a few little presents. So I want to send them some cards. So I might be using this as one of them. Okay. And my glue is not coming out. Naturally, right on camera. Okay, where's my glue? Oh, now it shoots out. Yeah. So if this happens to you, I like to keep a few scraps really handy like this. And you can kind of create a little, like a spatula, more or less with that. And I want to kind of tuck this in a little bit so it kind of looks like it's all part of the card. Everything kind of has a nicer flow. If you separate everything, I just feel like it is like too spaced out looking. So one of them, and I should go ahead and cover this, I'm going to add one of the leaves as a dimensional on dimensionals up here. And then the other ones will not be on dimensionals. So these little ones are good for this. This particular paper pumpkin came with the large dimensionals, but you could cut those in half if you wanted. And that would work as well. And there. Sometimes those dimensionals, oh man. You love them, but they can be a little difficult sometimes. Okay, so bringing in the rest of my leaves, I will quickly add them and then we can work on the inside. I've been more or less starting to do a lot of decorating with my insides of my cards because I feel like that gets neglected and it shouldn't be. As Kelly from A Stamp Above says, the party shouldn't end when you open the card. And I'm really agreeing with that, so. That was a little bit much glue. Maybe I could use the back of a dimensional back to remove a little real quick. Okay. And we have almost completed this first card and we have the note card left. So that is the front. Now the inside, I need to bring my scrap back and I'm going to use the same stamp, but we're going to use Flirty Flamingo, and we're just going to stamp it 2 times on the right bottom corner. So I need to make sure I clean my stamp before I re-ink. So I'm going to do that, and I may as well get my leaf cleaned up again too. All right, so here we go. I think it's light enough. I'm kind of seeing through enough, but you can see it's beading slightly, so it probably would have been better if I had, looks pretty good, pushed down with my spoon on that. Okay, I'm going to close this up because it is messy, messy, messy if you don't. All right, so inside my original card, I had stamped "The good things in life are better with you," and that is also a stamp that came with the butterfly Gala. In case you wondered. Sorry about the racket here. It's hard to stay organized while you're doing these videos. And okay, the good things in life are better with you. I think that's a lovely little message, and I think we'll add one little leaf there coming out. That would be kind of cute since we have that little spot. Here we go. There, that's kind of cute. It's not like I could write in that tiny corner anyway. Be like, there's no room here. Not a big message anyhow. Maybe you could draw a heart or something, but all right, so let's finish this card, and we'll move on to our tag. Just getting things straightened out here. Okay, bring in my tear and tape, which I love using. I like using tear and tape because if I really messed up what I wrote, I could use my heat tool and lift this adhesive, and it would come up and I could remove the card without doing too much damage. If I use the Tombow liquid glue, speaking of, I need to close this, it would just definitely be impossible. The only thing you could probably do would be to cover it with another piece. Okay, so what do you think? I think it's really pretty. So we did the same thing as this card. You can just see a little note, and I think it's just beautiful. So we will now start on the tag. We'll bring in my tag here, and this is really short and quick. Again, I cut this off and cut this in half, and it would make 2.5 by 3.5, 2 tags. So we won't do that on camera, but I will obviously bring in my supplies. So you will, if you want to duplicate this, you would need this triple tag. It's called Detailed Trio Punch. And this was a really it's a really nice tag to have. So here are my dimensions. And what I did first is to get this little hole. So you just slide it in, and this stays open permanently, unlike most of the punches. And I just tried to line it up straight as, center it in here, and then punch down. And there we have that part. Then to round it, of course, you just put it in here, and you push straight down. I'm always wanting to push at the angle, and that's not correct. You just push it straight down, and it's a lot easier and does a better job. I've had a lot less problems since doing that. Okay, so there is our tag to start with. I will bring back in this. Sorry about the messiness of here. And we will stamp our sentiment. So this sentiment is actually included in the Sentimental Rose. I have Calypso Coral here, and the stamp, where did the stamp go now? Oh, it's right here. So it says "For You," and isn't that perfect for a little gift tag? I think so. So there you have it, "For You." And then you could just take this in your paper trimmer and cut it. And then, and this was just a scrap I had. And then, you know, mat it with some Calypso Coral, which I already did. And I'm glad I did because that one I got a little far down. So here it is. So it will go on here. And this one I might lay out slightly differently. We'll see. But for now, we're going to now stamp the rose, which I was saying I did that in, I don't know, this might be my favorite color. Highland Heather. It could be. I think it is. I don't know. That's a hard one though, because there's so many beautiful ones. It's colors that Stampin' Up! Has. It's hard to really say. Can't live without them. I have every single Stampin' Up! Color except for the brand new 2019 to 21 in colors, which I can't wait to get. I have to wait till, I think it's May 2nd. All right, so here is our rose, and let's look at it. It's not too beaded up, so pushing down on that is really a great idea. And for this one, we're not going to do anything particularly extra, if you will, like, you know, how with my other one, I used the pencil. And in my previous video, I did one where I actually used a Stampin' blend, the lightest of the Petal Pink, and it kind of gave it an antique look. So do check that tutorial out. I had some technical difficulties, which I was so disappointed with, that I had these problems. My whole camera shut down just before I finished. I was like probably 3 minutes from finishing. That was always very aggravating when that sort of thing happens. So I will show those cards as well on the here. Of course, not making them though. And here we go. So we have, oh, that was, by the way, mint macaron. And of course, I have already cut them out. And I only needed one. I don't know what I was thinking. Oh well, we're going to be making a lot of these tags. I have a feeling I'm going to just go to town and make a bunch because I think they're going to be really handy. So I'm wondering if I should do it kind of reversed a little. Let's see how this would work. Okay, so here is my, and then do it kind of like this way. For some reason that throws me off. I guess because I did it the other way first. All right, so we're gonna stick with the same layout. I thought I could change, but apparently I'm not that flexible. And my glue is acting up again. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna just put this over here. Make sure it's straight, or reasonably straight. And I will tuck the leaf in after I put the flower down. I kind of like doing it that way. I just feel like it kind of is easier. So here we go. Here goes, and this is big enough to fit this whole flower on this tag. You could use the scallop tag topper, but that would definitely limit you more because you can only have it 2 inches wide. So doing this detailed trio punch, I think is really a nice little option. So if you've ever thought about getting it, here we're gonna have this one go off a little. Oh well, the leaf, it's fine. So the final thing is to add your baker's twine. And what I did here is just take a piece like this, cut it off, and this baker's twine was included in the kit, and it's really nice twine. It's much softer than some of them they've had in the past. I feel like some were not very high quality in past paper pumpkin kits. So this is a very nice one. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. I will bring back in my cards that we just made. So here is our card, and inside, she's just beautiful. Actually, is this one we made because that leaf, that was the original. And our other tag that I originated. And now I'm going to concentrate and show you on the cards that I made in my previous tutorial. So these are the note card size that are included. These bases are included with the kit. This is another one I did, which I thought was really different for me. It's using this champagne foil paper and these wonderful, adorable little, what are the epoxy drops or whatever they are included. So just thought I'd mention that. And then probably my favorite card, and this is why I was so sad my video got cut off, because this card, I think is just so pretty. Here I used Lovely lipstick, and to stamp the centers I used from Beautiful Bouquet. They had a stamp that works for that. And here I looped around 3 fingers baker's twine and then turned it into like kind of like a figure 8 and then put this label over top, which I thought that was really cute. And this background is the crackled paint with the Saffron, and I thought that was really pretty because this really is kind of like a vintagey card. And then inside it says, I couldn't have picked a better friend than you. And I did the same technique that I just showed, stamping twice on off. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and please give me a thumbs up if you did, and happy stamping. Here, I'll just show this one last time. All right. Thanks again. Bye.